He is a two-time Elite League champion. He's a three-time Challenge Cup champion. But as you saw on the 22nd of July, he still ain't finished. Welcome back to the Belfast Giants, my friend Kevin Raine. How are you, buddy?
Man, so excited to be here. And you said you didn't do any homework, but I don't think you needed to. You just know your stuff, Joel.
That just rolls off the top, mate. You know that. Yeah, look, it's a thrill to have you back after what was an amazing season last year. The Giants came obviously so close to that treble, and around off the championships that you do have, but obviously there's one still domestically here in the Elite League that you don't. Is there a wee bit of a sense of maybe unfinished business?
Yeah, I mean, very excited to come back. Of course, the season we had last year and the way it ended for me personally, to not be able to join the boys in the playoff round and to chase that elusive trophy that we've not gotten, at least in my time with the Giants. A little bit of unfinished business, and on a personal note too, just where I'm at and how I'm feeling. Definitely a lot more playing left to do.
Yeah, look, obviously you talked at length, and I'm sure that the Teal Army out there will follow you on social media, and they'll see everything that you do kind of in addition to your work on the ice, and we'll talk about that more specifically. But it seems to me like you came back to Belfast last year refreshed, I don't know, renewed, maybe a different frame of mind, and has that fueled then the willingness to keep going and to keep playing and to come back for another year?
I think so. Yeah, definitely in a much more positive mindset. Period. Over recent years, and to be able to come and apply that to my profession with that fresh mindset allows me to do it all that better and all that more enthusiastically. And coming in to Belfast, for the second season after COVID, that COVID episode was a big reflective period, and really, really excited and bringing new attitudes, new perspectives to Belfast as well as the game.
Was there a sort of inkling from you? It's always the sort of the two-pronged answer. Did you think about hanging him up after that kind of, the season just passed? You obviously talked, to the media at the time that it was either Belfast or nothing for you coming back post-COVID. But there's obviously going to be options. You're a championship winning team. You're in the shop window in terms of Europe. There is always the option of life after hockey as well. Did you have to go through that kind of mental process again this year before you decided to come back?
Yeah, and honestly, like I said, the way I finished with an injury as I did, it just really, really rocked me. Really, really had me going, what am I doing? Putting my body on the line. I gotta let Besco do his job back there. What am I doing out here? And anything that anybody's doing, you kind of have to have your whys in place, and you have to have pretty solid foundation as to your why and why you do the things you do. And that was a complete reevaluation for me. Why do I do this? Why am I continuing to do this? Is it justified, and should I continue to do it? And a whole bunch of tough questions that when looking at individually and breaking it down and really having thought and discussion around it to determine the end decision, and ultimately deciding to come back and feeling really good about that, and having been able to justify it. And I think I said in one of my writing bits that the play as long as you can, it is just ringing so loudly for me right now. And so yeah, that's what I'm going to keep listening to.
Yeah, and I think it's only natural. I think every hockey player goes through that sort of that self-evaluation of where they're at, where they want to go next. It's such a strange industry where you pretty much have the ability to apply your trade anywhere in the world, as well as move into sort of a life after hockey. Why was it the right choice? Why was it Belfast for you? Well, whenever you landed on that conclusion, why was it coming back to put on that tail for a fifth time?
Well, similarly to the COVID, it's kind of like a Belfast or nowhere type mentality where, it's the community and it's the roots that I've been able to grow there. And it's my ambitions at the rink and away from the rink. And, the excitement and the fostering of relationships that I've got to build in my time there, friends at the rink, friends away from the rink, to go elsewhere, for whatever reason it may be, you look at what you're leaving behind. And for me, the sense of family that I have at and away from the rink in Belfast, and also to have Hope join me in that experience now for a second time. First time she was, what am I getting into? What's this going to look like? Right.
She's a local girl now.
Yeah. Where, and if you were to ask her experience of this time last year, my excitement combined with her not knowing this, and then us landing in Belfast and me being like, oh, I'm at home, and then I'm like off with the boys, and she's kind of like, oh. We kind of like fell out of alignment big time there. She's like, no, this is not old to me. This is all very new. Like, and so to hear her out, but so to be able to go back to Belfast, being on the same page, and then after landing, remaining on the same page, getting to all of our people and kind of resume our Belfast lifestyle. Very, very exciting this time around. And
we had to put Hope through her paces, but I think she's pretty good even with the accent now. I think it's all nailed down at this point. Like, she probably understands it better than I do.
She's got it. Yeah, she's very. Yeah.
So listen, the thing you mentioned there, obviously, and I'll talk kind of specifics on hockey and stuff before we finish up. But something that Adam Keefe mentioned whenever you re-signed, and something that I think is very obvious to everyone. There's a lot of players come through the club by the nature of kind of hockey in Europe, and there's a fairly small percentage of the ones that I think really get under the skin of what the Belfast Giants means, what it does, just apart from a night of entertainment, apart from a club that people support. Its importance to the not only the city of Belfast but to Northern Ireland as a whole, or Ireland, or however far people travel to watch the team. You seem to have really got that, and it seems to have played a large part in your decision to come back, to continue that work of sort of engaging with people off the ice, of sort of sharing your thoughts about well-being, about positive mindsets, about taking care of yourselves, taking care of each other. That obviously then brings in the ambassador work you do with Action Mental Health as well. That seems to be such a massive part of your mission, I guess, now of coming to Belfast again.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the Belfast Giants community, the personal best community, the communities that make up the city of Belfast, to me are all in the same. And I want to unite people. I want to encourage people, and by embodying that and encouraging that, and just talking on whatever it may be, if it's an issue at the time, or if it's the way I felt about a certain time, or whatever it may be, to express that, and then to have the feedback of like, hey, like I saw that. That's, like, thank you. Like, that like helped me in whatever instance I was in. And so, the feedback that you receive after being open and being encouraging creates a bit of a ripple, I think. And it's one that, given, the amount of time spent and the amount of trust built and the amount of energy put into doing that in Belfast is another one of these things that, if I was to consider leaving, I'd be also leaving that behind. And so that doesn't happen overnight, and that's not a trust that's built in a season. That's one that's been built over the course of 5 or 6 years now, right? If you consider the year off. And so, to recognize and to remember why the team was implemented, and how it was brought to bring people together, and to remind people that that's what we're here to do, and that it shouldn't be exclusive to the rink, and that it should be in an all-encompassing way. I think is one to really, really put an emphasis on, and one that I really try to exemplify. And you see it all the time. You see people disconnected, and you see people fighting over something, or you see people having a disagreement. And at least in my experience, it's in making up, it's in having the conversation, it's in putting things aside, it's in finding common ground, where it's like, man, like, I feel really good having expressed that and being received. And now we're like, have an understanding of each other, met with some compassion, and now like we're back, right? Like, and that happens on a large community scale with the likes of, the political climate in Northern Ireland, Belfast. even like, families, right? And so to remember the core that in the land of the Giants, everyone is equal, and to encourage that is something to really, really, really push, I think.
I genuinely couldn't put it better myself. I do need to. Patrick Smith will shout at me if we don't talk about hockey before this interview ends. Obviously, you can subscribe to the 2-hour version of this interview afterwards. I'll drop a link in Twitter. Obviously, last year was an absolute barnstormer of a year, and what a way to return as a rebranded, re-energized ice hockey team. The branding was slick. The message was fantastic. The team was just a joy to watch week in and week out. What do you look back on in that kind of year? It's such a big year as well, coming back and making that decision to, I'm not going to go another direction here. I'm going to return to Belfast after this whole time away. What do you look back on ice as those kind of real turning moments? What were the highlights? You can look at things like, obviously the smash and grab in Nottingham, championships, some absolutely massive wins, and then obviously some fairly memorable nights for yourself for the wrong reasons. What is it that stands out about last season for you?
It's just amazing the way that it's a game of inches in a sense, where if you look at the specific moments or instances that our season might have hung on, scoring to go into overtime in Nottingham or to win in overtime against Cardiff, these instances that meant the entire difference, right? It could be if we didn't get that last goal in Nottingham that we don't have the points necessary to have won the league in the end, and it's just so crazy when you count the threads of which the season hung to realize like it's in those moments where it was won. And so and then there's often reference to, I know Kiefer references the time in Coventry where he we kind of all agreed that that's where we had to like gel, we like had to come together because we were down bodied and of course unique to maybe where we are and how the league is built. When guys go down, you're left with what you got. And, you look at, say, the Cardiff Devils team who played, I think, the whole tail end of the season with 4 defensemen or 3.5 defensemen or 3 defensemen at times, that's, we're lucky that we were able to stay healthy. And, that's, of course, how you want to go out through the season. But thinking back on the quality of guys we have in the dressing room and our leadership core and the chemistry on and off the ice with the guys as well as the girlfriends. We were just a big happy family last year. And when people are getting along and when people are contributing and when people are finding that chemistry on and off the ice, momentum builds and it just kind of it happens in the way that it did last season, which is awesome.
I couldn't agree more. The thing that we mentioned already, the nature of hockey in this part of the world is you do get player turnover, and there has been, sadly, it's always bittersweet for me to get to the end of a season because you realize that people that you've rooted for and that you've bonded with or whatever else, it may be the last time you get to see them here or whatever. And that has happened. There's a core of players back, which everyone's delighted about. There's also players who have decided to move along, and they won't be the last. Do you think it's realistic to set an ambition of being that successful again, with that chemistry having altered with new people coming in? Is it realistic to start again and go, let's do it again, boys?
Yeah, I think it's most realistic given the situation at the minute, given the amount of returning guys and given what we were able to retain from last season. And so when you've got that in place, it's easier to replicate, what we would have looked like last season because we're made up of all similar guys. I think that carrying those, those messages and those attitudes and that work ethic and all the things that make up what is needed. I think that we're off to a great start. As for new guys, that they'll come in, and because there's so many of us who have been around, that just means there's so many more of us to set an example for them, to take them under our wings and to, go to work every day, basically. And so.
And I got to briefly, before we wrap this up, we're already over because obviously playing in Europe is obviously a thing that not many hockey players get to do in a career. It's a real draw and it's a real kind of a real exciting new kind of string to your bow. Are you excited about the Giants in the CHL this season?
Absolutely. I think it's an amazing experience. I think it's an amazing opportunity. I think that the chance to go up against that top talent Europe-wide is an opportunity for us to represent both the Giants as well as the league, right? We go up against these teams of, the Swedens and the Czechs and whoever else we might be going against, and we have a chance at shifting some perspectives, right? If we have a great game, we get some wins, we have a good showing, then there's some reconsidering to happen on that side of how our league and the talent within it might be viewed. And so the opportunity to go play these teams is one to represent the entire league and the talent within it.
Last question. Are we finished?
We ain't finished. We're just getting started, Joel. We're just getting started. The only reason we're finished is because Patty's back ready to cut us off.
Kevin Raine, welcome back to the Belfast Giants. I'm sure I can speak for everybody and say that we're thrilled to have you back and can't wait to see you in person again. Those relationships and those kind of those interpersonal relationships you have with the fan base on a personal level, on a league-wide level, whatever, that they will pick up right where they were left off. And I'm sure there's a lot of people excited to see you and hope as well. So listen, safe travels, and we'll see you very soon, pal.
Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see everybody.